What were you doing at a fashion show?
That's a good question, of course. You have to remember I was very young then. This was I was 25 years old, and I was just beginning to be a photographer. I studied photography and so on, but I was only learning my way through in photography when I came to Poland in '73. But I heard that there was some sort of happening at underneath the Palace of Culture in central Warsaw, and suddenly I saw these models running around on this catwalk or whatever you call it, except it was raining. I mean, this is the whole point about this picture is that these girls don't seem to look as if they know it's raining, whereas
Professional.
the thousands of people behind them, all under umbrellas, plastic capes on their heads. In the rain, and they're professional, exactly, perfect. There's no sign on them that they're probably soaking wet. I have no idea. I was soaking wet as well.
There's this sea of umbrellas, but I'm assuming if you're holding an umbrella, then you can't really see anything. The only people who can actually see anything are the ones on the first row here, and then anyone beyond that. What are they getting out of this event?
I think in '75, this was the dark days of communism in Poland. And so anything which involves something slightly more spectacular than the run-of-the-mill clothes you could get in the clothes shops, if they all these ladies and girls and so on, even men, of course, were interested in seeing anything which was slightly out of the ordinary,
glamorous,
even if it was raining. I mean. And that was the whole point of this picture.
Do you remember what the occasion was? Why is there a fashion show outside the Palace of Culture?
I think this is something they called Cepeliada, which was Cepelia was a company which did sort of produce folklore stuff.
I didn't realize they did fashion too. They did clothes.
They must have all asked these girls to go. I have no idea. But anything like that in the 70s did involve crowds of people. I mean, I don't think right now, today, you wouldn't find there would be a covered stage with lights and everything, music and so on. And a photographer coming off the street wouldn't be able to get onto it. I mean, I'd be kicked off by security straight away.
But you were on the catwalk?
I was a model, yeah.
Now, I only realize now you must have been on the catwalk.
I was, yeah.
But you were part of the show.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're all looking at me, of course.
That's the main attraction.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what, they seem to be dancing, or what is
this? This is something I guess today's models don't do this.
They don't do that. No.
This is something I wouldn't see happening right now. Especially the models today, always very serious. They're not allowed.
It's a serious business.
Are they not allowed to smile or something?
Not really, no.
But here they're smiling. They're humans. Yeah. So these were the good days.
Well, they're mugging for the audience.
Or for me. I don't know, but I just like the two halves of the picture. They're completely dry models, if they're dry, and then completely wet. Thousands of people. And of course, as I say, in today, you wouldn't get so many people coming to see some sort of fashion show under the Palace of Culture. You get maybe a few hundred people, but these are thousands, I think.
Yeah, I mean, all the way to
They can't see a sausage. I mean, it's quite amazing, but they wanted to be there. And they wanted to see, as you say, glamorous models in glamorous dresses, yeah. But 75.
This middle one here kind of looks like Mama. Could that be her?
Actually, no.
Because she did,
but that was later.
This was what? This was in the 70s?
I think this was before we met. Oh, no, this was in 75, 76.
Well, you got married in 76, so...
It could have been her, but it was. It isn't, yeah.
And then, I mean, I love this picture not only because of the absurdity of the situation, but also because one of these spectators looks just like the actor Adam Driver. But I guess that can't be him.
Maybe it is him, although
he's younger than me and I wasn't even born.
He never aged. Or he simply was old.
But he's glaring at, the look on his face is like straight out of Star Wars.
Interested in the models.
Yeah, well, he doesn't seem very excited. But speaking of fashion, I mean, what Was there any fashion in Poland? I mean, where would you buy your clothes? Where would you? How would you? Where would you dress? How would you dress?
I'm not sure if I bought any clothes. I remember buying shoes in Poland.
Yeah,
because they were cheap.
like proper leather shoes.
Well, leather suede shoes, yes. They were cheap, of course, so I could buy them. I didn't buy clothes. I think I used to either go back to London or to Berlin or something to buy clothes. For some reason, I'm not a very clothes conscious man.
But I mean, Mama and her friends, I remember they were always very well dressed. Where did they get their clothes? From you?
Well, no, I think the whole point, actually, for me, girls were very fashionable in Poland. I actually found them much better dressed in a way than girls in London or wherever in the West. Because these girls, not these girls, but any of these girls, they had to use their heads. They had to either have their own tailors or whatever you call them. They used to have to fight or wangle somehow some good material. And they either made the clothes themselves, or they simply went to a tailor, and they were made. So and it was their own ideas sometimes, or ideas from West German magazines or something.
Or would they have access to these magazines?
Yes,
How would they keep up with the trends?
Under the counter, in a way.
Yeah, you could buy magazines under the counter, or would you bring them back from?
Well, I used to bring some, of course, whenever I went abroad. But I guess some of these West German magazines, especially ones with fashion in them, or simply women's magazines, could be found in some places, some kiosks or whatever. But the girls are very, very savvy when it came to dressing. I really found them much more interestingly dressed than my counterparts in London or wherever, where you could just go into a shop and buy what's there and that's it, which is what happens now, of course, in Poland.
Which is what everyone always longed for. But I remember, this would have been a little later in the early 80s. I remember Mama throwing like knitting parties for her friends, and they would all come and watch the latest telenovela and knit sweaters.
And knit sweaters, yes, very, very, very.
And
nice
then they had these pretty amazing, very colourful, very strange sweaters.
Yes, but very good actually. I mean, they're
really on trend.
They knew how to make. But this partly because of martial law, when there wasn't much to do, so they would simply hold sweater parties.
Did she make sweaters for you?
No.
I don't remember wearing...
No. These are mainly women's sweaters.
They're very fluffy and colourful.
Yes, and colourful, exactly.
So there were, these are the Domizentrum, the department stores, but were there any clothes there? There was...
Of course, there was Hof. They had all these...
So you could buy clothes?
You could, except you had to fight your way in.
Through this crowd.
And then fight your way out. And then by the time you got into the shop, it was empty.
Did you need special vouchers for clothes like you did for food?
I think not. No.
You could just...
Food and petrol was...
Because there were... thinking about it now, there were a lot of designers. There was Hof, there was Grażyna Hases, there was...
Yes, absolutely. No,
Moda Polska.
I quite agree. But you could indeed buy them in these exactly in those shops, the department stores across the
And
world.
anyone could buy them? The prices were affordable?
I can't remember that, but money had no value in those days, really. So if you... because everything was based around the black market... you couldn't really say what was expensive, what wasn't expensive. But of course, for a lot of people, they couldn't afford them simply, so they had to make them themselves. But I'm not really a fashion photographer. I mean, I did try later on in the 90s after the revolution in '89. But I'm not. I don't like working with a whole group of people. I mean, those stylists, makeup. Now it's even worse because you have the client and you have God knows what. The photographer is almost not important.
And it's also one thing to shoot something that you see occurring naturally, and quite another to stage an image.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I really am a photojournalist, really. So if I saw this, I shot it. I didn't arrange anything. It's simply caught as it is, even with the girls doing that.
I just realized that all these images that we've been looking at, there aren't really any portraits. I mean, there's images of people, but there aren't any... Well, like you said, you weren't staging images.
Yes, I'm not really a portrait photographer. I obviously have shot portraits, and And I even had a few covers.
Yeah, exactly. The Kadar cover.
Yeah, Kadar and a few other. And I had a session with Chancellor Kohl in Germany and so on. But
Warsaw,
yes, true. Mm-hmm.
But
I'm not really I don't really know how to pose people. That's why even my sort of supposedly posed pictures are really just caught on the sly. Really, I just look at somebody.
So you rely on the
I rely on what they do rather than me telling them what to do, because I never know what to tell them. So.
But I remember you waking me up in the middle of the night to test your new equipment on me.
Yes.
A few portraits came out of that.
Yes. Well, you're a good model, so even at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I have no choice. Well, there's one portrait that I really like, and we don't have it here, but I think I know where to find it.
Let's hope.
Let's see. It's. I mean, yeah, you would test your equipment and your skills on me, but not just me, because there's this one image in this book.
Which is a test photo? No, surely not.
Well, no, but it's family.
It's family. As far as I can recognize, it's my wife.
Yeah.
And your mother, yes.
Before I was, no, I must, if it's 78, what, 75? Let's see.
No, you are...
76, so this was a year before I was born. Where was this? So Sarbinovo.
Somewhere on the coast, yes. Or if it is indeed Sarbinovo, but it's somewhere on the Baltic coast, which I always enjoyed being on the beaches in Poland.
Well, this is an intimate family portrait, but it could work as a fashion image.
Yes, nowadays, yes.
Maybe you missed your calling.
I missed my calling, yeah. It's difficult to photograph wives, actually, because they sometimes don't like being photographed.
Especially this one.
Yeah, so maybe, I'm sure she knows I'm photographing her, but...
She's certainly dressed for the occasion, or is that what she would wear to the beach?
Of course, yes, that's a beach dress. Your classical beach dress in a wickerwork beach chair.
And I just realized she seems to be writing a postcard, something that you don't really...
It's quite possible. We always wrote postcards then, and I still do now.
You still do? Yeah, we were abroad recently, and you made a point of looking for postcards, writing them, and then posting them.
The difficult part is finding a postbox.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. I have to find it for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but I used to work for a fashion magazine called Vogue.
Yes, goodness.
We never did anything together. I never asked you for a shoot, but...
just as well, maybe.
I think yeah. But we did shoot something together, remember? It wasn't shot for Vogue, but it was...
It wasn't fashion.
It wasn't fashion, but it ran in Vogue. It was the story it was our story of visiting Fair Isle in Scotland.
In the Shetlands, yeah, wonderful.
And I was very pleased with that story, with those images. Actually, I've got a framed image of those sheep on my wall. But we never... You didn't mind me not asking you to shoot?
No, I was just hoping you wouldn't ask me. Because it's not done, as they say.
Oh, you think that's what it was? The nepotism?
Not because I couldn't do it. It's just that...
Well, you couldn't do it.
Nepotism. Yeah.
We tried, but no. There's another image, I think, from the same show here in this book. Here it is. Mm-hmm. That's the same one, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Same umbrellas, same rain, same
but no
enthusiastic faces.
No Adam Driver.
But this must have gone for a while, this procession of...
In the rain,
models.
of course, yes. No, I mean, these things take ages, of course. They run around on the... as you see, they're different models and male models as well.
Although I think this is the same one as
that one, yes, indeed. Mm.
And so this went on for how long?
Can't remember. It must have been, well, I wouldn't say an hour, of course, because that would be too much, but because it was only part of other sorts.
Well, exactly. I was going to ask, what else happened on the stage? Were there concerts? Were there speeches?
No, I think that was just a fashion. I can't remember any concert, no. Nowadays, of course, there would be.
Well, it seems your fashion days are over.
Yeah, sorry about that.